All right, good morning. It's a little crazy this week. My vehicle is not starting, so I'm at home doing this in my bedroom because it's the only place I have quiet. The boys home for spring break. Anyway, thank you for coming to the weekly question. This week we're going to talk about how to parcel through your objects. What do you want to keep? What do you want to sell? What do you want to donate? Give to your kids. This is a question and a conversation that we see and it help folks experience every day. What do we sell? Why do we sell it? Should we keep it? Should we donate it? Should we throw it away? How do we make sure the kids get what they want? Excuse me. And so that's what we're going to talk about. A couple of quick things about just the market in general, and why this question is as important today as ever. Trying to see something right here. Let me share this on my page really quickly. Just post it. And so, why is this such a good question? Why does it feel like nobody wants your objects? Why do nobody wants your parents' stuff? That's kind of been a theme running on the marketplace the last couple of years. We see that regularly. We hear it regularly. Trying to get used to this iPad. And so, what are we seeing? What are folks seeing in the market when they're talking about that? And what we're noticing, the initial reaction is nobody wants my stuff. The kids don't want it. My grandkids don't want it. Nobody wants it. And there's some truth to that, but it's kind of always been that way. There's a lot of reasons for it. Family size being smaller is a huge reason for that. If you only have one or two children as opposed to 3, 4, and 5, you just don't have as many kids to take it, nor do you have as many, sons-in-laws, daughters-in-law, and then you don't have as many grandchildren either. The other two reasons that I see regularly, and we talk about regularly with folks, are young women as they're coming of age, junior high and high school. 30, 40, 50 years ago, their biggest conversation was, they're going to marry the quarterback. This is a societal, generational thing, not an individual topic. But a lot of young women were much more, their biggest day of their life was the day they got married. That used to be advertising slogans for dresses and for wedding rings, and now that is just not the case. Young women, the girls that my boys go to school with, are not at all concerned about being married when they're 18, 19, or 20 years old. They're playing their sports. They're looking for their scholarships. They're considering which college they want to go to start their careers on the path that they want them to be on. And what are they going to do after that? And so the formation of families is happening at later stages in life, and the creation of children. If you're not married younger, you don't have kids younger, teen pregnancy rates are way down for these very reasons. Young girls, young women have much more on their plate now than they ever have before. And there are a lot of, and that's a great thing. And there's, like I said, teen pregnancy is down. Young women, girls are looking at their future much more independently. And so they're not as focused on those objects, and they're not creating as large a family. And they're not having children until later. And the people whose things are being downsized are living longer, and so the timing is different than it used to be. If you died at 60 to 65, which was common back in the 60s, your grandchildren were just establishing their homes. Now, that same person is living to 85, and so you're talking great-grandchildren, and it's just too large of a gap and too large of a distance between, and people aren't dying in their original big home. They're going from their big home to a smaller home to an assisted living. And so it's just the society has changed so much. And so when we talk about going through things, that's one of the reasons why. And so what do you want to keep? Why do you want to keep it? What should the family keep? One of the biggest things that people need to realize is just because you collected something doesn't make it important to the family. What's important to the family are things that you inherited and kept from the family from generations back. From the great-grandparents back when they were in Kentucky has a lot more interest and sentimentality than the vases that you collected, the art glass you collected. Even though it's pretty and wonderful and has some value, your kids may not like that same style. You didn't like your parents' style. Odds are you didn't like your grandparents' style. And your children are no different. Just because you enjoy something alike, it doesn't mean that your children have to or should or will. Thanks for watching, Corey. No, I am not associated with Casey Auctioneers. Thank you for asking, Corey. That is someone else, and that is all I will say about that. We're the Casey Auction and Appraisal Company. We've been around for over 20 years. We have been voted the best in Kansas City many times, and we are just not with that company. I would do research into who you're selling with and who you're talking to before you sign contracts, is the most I will say about that today. Our conversation next week will be about choosing people to work with in that situation. And so back to what we're talking about today. So the things that are important to the family, you want to talk to your children about this, and if you have other questions, yeah, it is confusing, and that's something you could talk to him about. I've been around for over 15 years with that name. He came around about 8 months ago with that name. You figure out, I think the reasonings are pretty simple and clear, but we'll talk about that later. And we'll get to that later. Anyway, back to the conversation for today. And Mara, thanks for watching. Corey, thanks for watching. If anybody else has any questions related to our topic today, please send them out. If you have questions about off-topic items, send us a private message. Give us a call, 816-283-3633. Drop us an email at info@kcauctioncompany.com. If you're watching, like something we say, hit the like button. Share this with your friends. But the things that are most important to keep, and have a conversation with your children about this while it's fresh in your mind, while you're able to actually have a conversation about it, is talk to your children about what's important to them and why. And don't make them feel guilty if they don't like it. That's not they don't need to like it because you do. Everybody has different tastes. Explain why it's important to you, but also give them the space to say, I understand that and appreciate it, but honestly, I'm paying tuition for my kids to go to elementary and high school and college, and we've got a mortgage and we have cars, and honestly, I'd rather have $3,000 than, a big set of sterling flatware. And that's very often the case. And don't make your children, your grandchildren, feel guilty because of that. Understand that you were in that situation at one time yourself. And give them the space in the room and the respect to have those conversations and not make them feel less than because they don't want what you kept. So we always talk about keeping the things that are important to the family, and that family is larger than you. The family is where you come from and what goes forward. So old documents, old texts, old photographs, which is a bit of a conundrum because most photographs are stored digitally anymore, and so the actual paper copy of a photo isn't nearly as important as it once was. Old family Bibles. If there's a quilt that great-grandmother made, that's usually something we try and have people keep. If there's things that have a personal feeling, a personal connection that resonates and or you think will be important to the future, those are things we talk about keeping. Things that we talk about selling are things that the quick and dirty is, if something was expensive new, it's going to be expensive or desirable used or antique. And so when you're looking at why are some things selling for more than others, oftentimes the items that bring big money in the secondary markets, whether it's Tiffany lamps or sterling silver or good Oriental rugs or high-end furniture, it's because they're the best that was made at the time. And everybody knows the best. Everybody responds to the best. Everybody gets it intuitively, even if they've never really been exposed to it. When we had an antique shop and or traveled and did antique shows and flea markets, we would often hear, oh, I've got champagne taste, from people who didn't know what we were selling. They just were attracted to it. The reality is everybody has champagne taste. The reason something's the best is because there is just quality to it that you cannot replicate in other scenarios. You can't. IKEA is great for filling up a house full of furniture, but the quality will never be there. The quality of IKEA will never be the same as Herman Miller or Knoll. And so the Herman Miller and Knoll lines will always be more valuable because they're just better made and have better lines and better quality materials. And so that's what we find is that if something was expensive, old, or when it was new, it's going to carry that value over secondhand market. Thanks, Charles. Thanks, Jason, for watching. If you're watching now, just go ahead and hit the like button and share it with your friends. We're going to kind of wrap this up. I'm waiting for a tow truck here in Kansas City. My car wouldn't start this morning. I'm going to Indiana tomorrow with it, so hopefully we can get that figured out. But talk to your family. Understand what they're looking, why they want to have what they have. And understand that the family connection is much more important than you collected it for 30 years. Understand that they don't necessarily have the same tastes as you or desires as you, and they're at different points in their life than you are now. What you like today is different than what you liked 30 years ago, and your children are the same way. And let them grow into that on their own. Real quick to talk about the donating things to people. That's a subject that we use often. We talk about donating in a couple of different instances, but in this scenario, we talk about donating things that are usable and or have lesser to moderate value, and let an organization benefit from that you're passionate about. And we see a lot of people really feel like they're doing good because they are, and it gives their legacy a chance to live on in a different way that isn't the same, and it's just different than giving it down to your children or selling it at a garage sale. The things that have high value, if the kids don't want it, obviously auctioning is a great option, and so on and so forth. So I want to go ahead and check this, close this out for the afternoon. Thank you all for watching. You should hit the like button, share. If you have questions, I will watch for another minute or two, see if we have any more questions pop up. And I will address Corey. I'll send you a private message here in a little bit as well. But share this, hit the like button. If you have questions, please let us know here. You can always go to our website, kcauctioncompany.com, and there's frequently asked questions and other information about our company there. You can send us a message here, give us a phone call, 816-283-3633. Drop us an email, info@kcauctioncompany.com. Or you can always send us a private message here on Facebook. These videos are up for a long time. There's a lot of people watch these, not necessarily when we're doing it Friday morning, but months down the road. So, again, thank you for watching. Otherwise, have a great Friday. It's going to be a good weekend for everybody, I hope. St. Patrick's Day is tomorrow. Don't drink too much green beer, and we will see you all soon.